Tonight, Principal Rob Virgin and three of his students are joining us to talk about Eagle Voice, which is around student-led crowdsourced innovation. So I'm going to welcome Rob and let him do some introductions here as he gets things connected and ready to go. We'll make sure it comes up on the screen so everybody can see what they're talking about.
You have them unplugged and plugged back in.
Look, it just flipped. I think it's just taking us. There we go. Oh. We just had it.
Coming now?
Yeah. I think this is that patience thing. One of those virtues that we're supposed to live by.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Swanson, members of the board. I am excited to be here tonight with Samir, Maddie, and Peyton, sophomore and two juniors, to talk about Eagle Voice. I think about Eagle Voice, this is, makes me nervous and excited at the same time. I think it has the potential to be a real game changer for our school and for our community. It's basically, to me, it's a fancy suggestion box for students. It's an online platform where kids will be able to submit ideas, and then they will be able to vote on each other's ideas. I'll have the three leaders with me here tonight talk about it, but when we think and work strategically toward student voice, this is the best example I've seen. We have 42 students that signed up from an email that I sent them at the start of the school year saying, hey, will you lead this event for us? There's one school we know of in suburban Cincinnati that's kind of sort of doing something similar that we've connected with to learn from. That's as close as we can come. And the 42 kids, and these three are leading it, are telling us, hey, here's what we want the event to look like, here's how we're gonna market it, as you can see in this slide, here's why we joined, and here's the ideas that we think about. So I invited them with me to talk a little bit about that tonight. It might sound familiar, it's similar to Eagles Challenge, which is our staff event. So they've had a chance to see the Eagles Challenge event, and just a brief update on that we're not even through our second iteration of that at the high school, and we've already implemented 10 ideas that have come from our staff. And we're voting on 33 more ideas from now until the end of Thanksgiving break. So it's a great way for people to that experience our schools in different ways to show us, hey, here's our ideas, here's what we can do, here's how we think we can make this great school an even better place. So I'm going to turn it over to Peyton, who's going to introduce us, and then Maddie, and then Samir.
All right, I'm Peyton West. I'm a junior at the high school, and Eagle Voices is a way for students to have their voices heard. Students will see changes being done by the school, and they'll see new things being implemented, but it's not really their voice that's being heard here. It's other administrators and upper tier people that are saying, let's make these changes to see if it's better. But Eagle Voices will really help students get their voices heard. It'll allow for students to see changes that they want and that they think can improve their student experience and their learning opportunities and the way they see learning connect from in school to outside of school. It'll allow them to see those changes being made and say, hey, my voice is being heard, so I'm going to suggest more ideas that can help our student experience be better. And then that'll create a cycle of students implementing their voices and their change, and that'll help create just an endless cycle to come of students' voices being heard. It'll really help change our school because it'll allow for students to be able to implement the changes they want to see. If they just say, hey, I want this to happen, and then no follow through, that'll make them think, oh, my voice doesn't matter. My voice, no one really cares about my voice. But this event, Eagle Voices, will allow students to pick what they want to see happen at their school and to pick what they want to be done and the changes that will allow for their experience to be better.
Hi, I'm Maddie Isak. I'm super excited to be here. To start off, I just wanted to kind of say why I volunteered to be a part of this. So I volunteered because I saw it as a great leadership opportunity and way to become more actively participating in change throughout EPHS. So although at first I wasn't exactly sure what the idea entailed of, I knew that it had a great potential to be successful and just really loved the idea. I also love the creativity aspect of the idea, you know, how like students could really go in and submit and create their own ideas instead of typically like voting on an already proposed staffed idea. Also, you know, instead of students like saying, oh, why don't we have this in our school? Why don't we have that in our school? They can really just go on a platform and say the specific idea that they want to see happen in our school, which I thought was just a great opportunity overall. I'm specifically on the marketing and communications piece of this project, specifically kind of the social media aspect of it. I'm working on like the Twitter and Instagram accounts to really get this idea promoted to students so they know what it is. So far we've kind of created like a couple posts just kind of briefly describing what it is so students know how to participate. We've set the link in the bio and the date of December 3rd through 17th so they know exactly when it is. We've created like a profile picture which I thought was kind of neat. It was kind of like a megaphone with an eagle coming out of it to represent Eagle Voice, which I thought was awesome. I know there's a print media team working on creating like posters and other visuals to put up throughout the school for people who aren't as active on social media. And we're also hoping to get like an Eagle Vision News broadcast set up, which a lot of people watch during our free time during Connections on Tuesdays. So I think it'll be a great opportunity for our school. Thank you.
I'm Samir Sarma. I am a sophomore at the high school. And when I think of what Eagle Voice is meant to accomplish, what its goals are, I think of three main things. First of all, I think of the leadership opportunities that these 42 students have been able to go through. We've really become a tight-knit community almost, working on manifesting this idea of having student voices for change and making sure that this is all running smoothly. And all the innovation that we've done up till the lead up of the launch of this project has really taught me a lot about innovation and collaboration as well. I also think about this project's power to empower the student voice, as was touched on earlier by Peyton. When students feel that their voices are being heard, I just think that that is a great feeling for me personally, to know that I've been able to bring about something that empowers students whose voices might not have been heard, whose suggestions might not have been taken by those higher up. Just being able to see that students feel like their voices are being heard and to see their ideas actually being implemented in the coming weeks and in the coming months, that's what makes this all worth it for me. And the last thing that this is all about is this is about creating a culture for continued innovation. There's an anecdote in one of our meetings that there's a curve in innovation that is shaped like this, where if you were to plot the number of innovations that a company makes and its productivity, you would first start to see a little decrease and then a little divot here. And then as more and more ideas come in, it skyrockets and productivity increases greatly. The issue is that when many schools or many companies try to first get their innovation off the ground and rolling, they reach that divot, they get discouraged, and then they go back to stability without ever pushing through and seeing the other side of that innovation. And my hope is that not only does this event become a one-off thing for students to suggest ideas to change the school, but that this becomes a repeated thing, perhaps a tradition almost, where Eden Prairie High School can become something that's always evolving, always changing.
Thanks, you three. Awesome job of describing that, and definitely take some questions. One part, as they were talking, of the two parts is, all 3,000 of our students will be able to participate by submitting ideas and by voting on ideas. The group of 42 leaders I mentioned, they're the ones who came up with a name for it. They're the ones who are designing the marketing campaign. They'll moderate the ideas as they come in. They'll help us project manage those ideas. And as Samir's getting to, one of my commitments back to them was in our leadership meetings, and that's what's pictured here, was to really try to teach them the skills of innovation, of what is it like to work in an innovative space, what are the skills that are needed for that, and to develop and invest in them as leaders so that they're giving so much to our school that they get an authentic leadership and learning experience out of that as well. So thanks for listening.
Thank you. Questions? Carla?
Yeah, I think Robbie just explained a little bit more about the logistics, but you're saying it's an event, but there's a range of days. So basically there's a time period in which students can submit their ideas electronically, and then a committee will look at it. are the 42 people you mentioned, 42 students, or
Yeah,
how does it
So,
go back to people?
in that range of dates, December 3rd through December 17th, students will have access to an online website that lets them submit the ideas. Now, after that event, there will be a voting phase, which all 3,000 of our students will also be able to participate in. The way we plan on this working is that students will log into a similar portal, and they'll be presented with 2 of the ideas that our committees have deemed acceptable, not vulgar, not like,
Yeah.
yeah, school appropriate. And so they'll be presented with the 2, and they'll click on the one that they think is the best. And this voting process will continue on and every student will vote until only the top few ideas will have risen to the top, and those are the ones that we plan to implement.
Yeah, it's the same setup as Eagles Challenges for staff that I think this is the 3rd year in the district of pairwise voting,
I
where
wasn't here,
you get.
been here, so I didn't know what they're.
Oh, okay, yeah.
what
So
their
it's
logistical
ideation in
setup was.
December, and then voting in January, and then we'll run we call design sprints following design thinking in February, where students will come up following lean startup models and rapid prototyping to come up with prototypes that we could test this spring based on the ideas that have the most traction from the crowd, which is the ideas that get the most votes.
Okay, and then you answered my other question, which was about, there must be some vetting process before it goes back out, to, like you said, make sure it's not
Yeah,
joking
Right.
suggestion or something, maybe naming someone or whatever, just that there's a vetting process before it goes
Yeah,
back
we had
out.
3, we had the student leaders group sign up into 3 different groups. One was marketing communication, one is project management of ideas, and one is idea monitoring. So we have 6 moderators, we're calling them, that they'll get an email. We have a rubric and a scope for what ideas within scope when an idea is submitted, and then I'll get that email as well as one other staff person. And then across the 8 of us will say, okay, does this meet our scope? Accept, and it goes live for the whole school to see.
Perfect, thank you.
Colin?
So it sounds like there's a real good model that you're basing this on. Have you done some research on that model so you understand a little bit more of how the process works? Or are you still out there looking for research to back what it is that you're doing with the project?
The model that we're using is our crowdsourced model that we use with staff. It's the exact same, it's just a month behind.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, is there some research based to what they're doing? And so I think that that's always a real good thing to be able to look back on and to talk with your audience about, that there's some research backing to what it is that you're doing. So, yeah.
Thank you.
That's good.
Yeah.
Terry?
I don't have a question, I just wanted to say thank you so much for sharing a little bit about this. And I do think that there is power in shared power and engaging our young people with the innovation. So I just want to make sure I get the follow-up to hear what ideas actually get moved forward.
Yeah.
And I just have to say, I'm also really excited that leadership is saying, yes, we are committed to following through with these things that come to the forefront. So anyways, keep us in the loop, please.
Yeah.
I have a question. What made each of you want to join the leadership committee, and kind of what was that the same as the reasoning for many of your other peers on the committee? So there was 43, I think. Were there different kind of selection processes for how that group was assembled?
I guess I can start. Like Maddie, I just saw it as a great leadership opportunity to get involved with the school. The initial email that Mr. Virgin sent out was very vague, and I think he kept it vague intentionally because, hey, I need your help with this project for student innovation. He didn't even tell us what the student innovation was going to look like, but innovation, it's a really powerful word, and I guess I'm drawn to that, to powerful words, and I wanted to be a part of that process, so.
Yeah, like I previously said, I just saw it as a great leadership opportunity to be involved in the school. Like Samir said, like when he first sent it out to me, it was like very vague and I had kind of no idea what it was going to be about. So when I went to the initial meeting, I just thought it was a super cool opportunity to get a lot of students in our school involved in. And yeah, that's basically it.
I think it was going to be a fun leadership opportunity like everyone else, and I was ready to see what was going on. And my sister, who was a class of 2019 graduate, she had been really involved in the school as well. And she said, she always told me how fun all these leadership things were, how she was involved in PBIS, and how she just loved to be involved in the school, and how it really connected her with important people for her future. And I just thought, well, if she can do it, so can I. So, so I thought it was a great leadership opportunity and a way for me to get equal with my sister.
Sibling rivalry works. Other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.